Hey guys, I don't know if you can see the time or not, but it is 2:44 a.m. January 1st, 2019. The reason I wanted to make this video was very simple. I wanted to start the new year with some new rules. Now, these rules are basically set up to help myself and basically anybody else who wants to follow it into just being in a state of consistent profit and avoiding losses at for any reason, I should say. For any reason. Now, I never really had a terrible situation in regards to losses, except for when I probably lost patience and tried to do, reckless stunts, heavily correlated buying procedures, things like that. Um, but what my biggest issue was securing some of the larger wins that I've more or less been able to get. So I've been in plenty of situations where winners turned into losers, and there was basically no reason for it except for poor trade management on my half. I would say this in my own defense. It was my rules at the time. My entry rules were followed, and my exit rules were followed. When going for 100 pips or 200 pips or, something like that, you're going to need to go in with the mindset that you're going to have to be patient. It's not going to come within the next day or so. So you have to go in there knowing that once you enter, it's probably best for you to just walk away for at least a day or two and let it, do its thing. The problem with that type of trading is if it goes into your direction, there's no guarantees that it will reach 100% of the way. Sure, I have plenty of trades that I've seen them been done, and I've plotted them plenty of times. But again, it's not always a guarantee. It's either you're gonna get frustrated yourself. Plenty of situations where you jump out the trade early, so on and so forth, out of frustration, whatever the case is, and you take whatever little profit there is, so on and so forth, or it comes back on you 100%, which was a recent situation where I was up nearly 300 pips, and the entire thing came back on me, bringing me back down to a little over zero. And that can't happen again. It just can't. So there has to be an adjustment, and I am making that adjustment now. I have looked at everything, up, down, left, right, and what I have figured out for myself was basically where and when that adjustment needs to be made. And I wrote down some basic rules to follow in regards to that. So let me just break it down to you now. Now, before, it was a situation of you enter something, you hold it, you hold it, you hold it. If it pulls back on you, you endure the pullback. And then if you see another entry opportunity like this one provided right here, then hey, more power to you. Make another entry and then go, go, go. Hopefully it gets to where you're going, and if it does, ding, 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 congratulations, cash out. Right? That was the old rules. And the problem is, sometimes this pullback, it's psychologically damaging. You have no idea what it's like to see real cash build into thousands of dollars and then come back down into tens and twenties when it hits this point. And you have no idea what it feels like to have it come back down into this particular area and hit break even after you've seen it make, thousands upon thousands of dollars. And you have no idea what it feels like psychologically. It's going to feel like to not only watch this trade go from this winning point to hit this break even point, or to worse, go behind you deeper and deeper and hit your stop. There's no reason for a trade that you were correct on this particular direction on to cost you a damn thing when it comes back down into your entry. Your entry should be break even plus 1, 2, or 3 pips at all times. So that way you're secure. And no matter what happens, you walk away with something. And that's basically what all your entries should be. You either should be making you money, a lot of money by hitting TP, making you some money by you cashing out early when price begins to turn, or making you a little bit of money when price turned too quickly and just ended up hitting your break even. There shouldn't be a situation where it's costing you anything as per a total loss, a full 2% hit. Those will happen, but when they do happen, that means basically one thing and one thing only, that you were absolutely wrong about the direction from the jump. So, when that happens, that was your fuck up. And you have to accept that. Now, good news is, with this strat, basically, I find where the turning points are, and I'm usually have my back to price, to the most extended zone where price goes. So I'm usually safe in that regard. My problem is not keeping what I've earned, and that's changing now. So let's go into the rules. The entry strategy is changing up in regards to what I'm going to do is find the most immediate trend on the 4 hour. Now, the daily trend, the weekly trend, those are all great, good and well. Once we hit those particular areas, we'll start paying attention to them again. But most of the time, the 4 hours where your immediate trend is going to be based off of. So that's number one. The first thing you want to do is find a trend on the 4 hour. Second thing you want to do is find a cross, an MA cross of the 8 MA and the 21 MA in the direction of the immediate trend. Now, if the trend is going up, what you want to look for is a bull cross. If the trend is going down, what you want to look for is a bear cross. This is a bear cross over here. This is a bull cross here. The trend is up. We are looking for a bull cross. Okay? Once the MA is crossed, that means basically the direction has been doubly confirmed. Okay? That's number 2. Find the cross in the direction of the immediate trend. Next, once you have that, happened right here. Okay? From here, we go over to the 1 hour. And we find the area where it crossed. And it crossed right here. Boom. Now, we go to the 1 hour and we find it cross in the direction of the trend and a setup that supports an entry. So we already found a cross. It happened right back here. Now we need a setup. Now, here's the thing. It didn't set up for another about 8 hours. This is actually part of that bullish candle right there. And this candle would be the candle that actually made this cross happen. So this wouldn't actually be our entry. Our first cross opportunity will actually be right here in this location. So what we'll have an option of doing is either buy at the 50 fib of this candle, or, excuse me, get in at the top here. So either way, if we get into the top, which I think would probably, which is something I would actually do for this candle because it's only about 5 pips long. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm trying to save 2 pips on this entry and all I needed to do was to get into this entry was just say to myself, I could do without those 2 pips. And I just enter from the top right here. Or enter at the market right here. Or wherever it's at. So, if we are going to do a buy stop entry, we'd have to basically place our stop. I would say a 20 pip stop is good because 20 pip stops not only puts us behind here, it puts us behind a cross. And then you let it run. Run until you reach your first sign of 4-hour resistance. So basically you enter, and now the only thing you're doing right now is making hella cash after your entry. Now, just as important as your entry rules and my own entry rules, I should say, adjusting them, I should say, is I have to adjust my exit rules as well. And in this particular case, our plays are for the 4 hours. So if our entries are based upon the 4 hour, our exits must be based upon that as well, or else we'll be living at our computers hour by hour, and you don't want that either. So depending upon the pair, what you'll do is this. After your pair has moved 30 to 60 pips, depending upon the pair, UJ, NU, and AU, for example, could probably be good for 30 pips because 20 pips does a lot. And pairs like EC, EuroCAD, GJ, Pound Yen, or EJ, Euro JPY, or Euro Yen, if they move about 60 pips, that's 30 pips won't be nothing to them. They could cover 30 pips like that. 60 pips, however, that's at least decent. That's something slightly more respectable. So once they move 30 or 60 pips, you move your stop up to break even plus 3. Once that happens, you basically sit back and you wait for price to move 50 to about 100 pips. And then that's where you just start looking for signs of any particular signs of pullback. So here's our entry. Now we count about 30 pips. At 30 pips, we're at break even, and then we count another 20 pips, which is about right here or so. And now, which is pretty much where we were at the top of this particular zone, and we start looking for any signs of pullback. And when you start looking at it on the 4 hour, you get one immediately in this zone off of that red candle. Once you start seeing that, what you want to do is this. It's very simple. If you find a move that's more or less setting up for a pullback, then just simply move your stop up to just below that move. You move it at about, depending upon the pair that you're with, about 5 to about 20 pips below the absolute low of that. So in this particular case, the absolute low is here. Just count 5 pips, just like that. And there's your low, 5 pips. And from your entry, that's about 23, 22 pips. So if I were to highlight that a little bit better, let me put a little line on it. Let's move this here and just recount those 5 pips again, just for a better visual aid. $111,417. Here's your 5 pips. Here's your entry. Okay, so no matter what happens, you locked in about 26, 27 pips. And in this particular case, at $88 a pip, times that by 27, that's 2,376. So that's 1,376. You're locked in. And now you're waiting for price to basically make a decision on what it wants to do. So here's the low. Here's this particular low. And you're waiting for it to hit, and eventually, of course, it does. Now, that's one way to get out that I'm thinking. The other way that I'm thinking to get out is right around here. If the 1 hour MAs cross back to the downside, well, that's me dusting off my hands saying I'm done with this trade. So that was what I was thinking there. If that happens, yeah, Dunskies. And that puts me in a better position, because what that locks in is significantly more, 37 pips out of the 50 pips. So 37 times that by 88, that's 3,256 bucks. So either way, we lock that in. And now this thing could do the rest, pull back as much as it wants, and we don't care, because we either got our 25, 27, or we got our 32.5. And we don't care. And now it makes another entry right here. So if you move this 1 hour over, boom. You have this telling you, as you can see, there's actually a cross that's moving on the 4 hour as well as the 1 hour. and allows you to follow both time frames, telling you what looks like what on the other respective hour, the other respective chart. So once we get that cross, let's say we get out there, and all the rest of this is just counter trend. You don't want to really trade anything like this because you don't know when it's going to pop back up and fly, especially when you're already in a trend. So you wait until a setup happens, and then one does. You get this large bullish situation right off the trend line, and on the 1 hour you get yourself a cross again. So you're back in business. Now you got this candle all highlighted. Now you're looking for a reason to get back in, and you could take this situation as some kind of morning star or whatever the case is, but the first bullish setup you see, you get in. But the first real bullish setup that I see is really over here. But if you want, you can get in here, but it's really over here. You get in here, 20 pips stop, and then you're off to the races again. I can't say you're off to the races really, because in all honesty, you got in here, right? And he put a 20 pip stop right here. That means this red candle here pushed 15 pips into your 20 pip stop. It made you see 15 times 88, a loss of $1,300 before it gave you what you wanted. And then the very next candle after that pushed down even more, gave it to you right back again, another piece of sweat. So you were basically shitting yourself twice before price gave you what you wanted to see. And when it did though, actually I should say not when, but when it did, oh, how did it take care of you? Up. Now we follow price. Now this is like, again, once it hits 30 or so, we already moved up to break even, +3, and now we're waiting. This hit like around 40 or so pips, but that's a huge sign to me. So my stop is going to be 16. Now I'm locked in about 10 pips right around here. So I'm moving. And then price crosses right around here. So say for example, I choose to get out here at that cross, and this cross is made, I get 10 plus 9, I lock in 19 pips. 19 times 8, another $1,600, right? And then it does all of this, it crosses back up. The entry rules has to be on the floor. looking, I got hindsight already visible, so now I'm trying to more or less think of what the most honest thing I would have done. I see this cross go back up, I'm looking for an opportunity to buy in again. And I most likely would have tried to buy in here. And then that would have had a 20 pip stop. And that would have fell down like about 18 pips or so. So here's the situation. No, yeah, that probably would have tagged my ass. Yeah, even though this is hindsight, you've got to do all your back testing with real thought in mind. But basically, what I wanted to share with anyone is just a strat. So here's the 20 pips. The 50 pip entry. Here you go, here you go. Boom, yeah, taken out right here. Or you would have gotten back out at this cross right here. Either way, you would have suffered like at least an $800 loss, which is fine. I mean, the market just gave you nearly 5. So what's 800? And boom, perfect entry right here. Let all this go, let all this go, let all this noise and chop go. Let this happen, let this cross. Here's your bull entry. Let this shoot up. This would have shot up from here. Here's your cross. Here's where your entry would have been. Let this shoot up. This would have went from here to here. Would have been 26 pips, 25 pips. That means I would not have engaged my break even yet. That's fine. In hindsight, that's fine. But this red candle here would have made my ass sweat. Boom. But it picked back up. Price never went and never made another cross on the 1 hour. And then, hold on, let me get that off the screen real quick. Basically trying to be truthful as possible. Let's stick into the rules. Here's the cross back into the direction on the 1 hour. Here's the next bearish bullish situation that happened, because we're only looking for longs. Then we're going to get in on the top of that. We're not really going to, it's a 10 pip candle. I'm not going to say trying to get in the halfway mark of that for 5 pips. No way, not taking that chance. So here we go. Here's 20 pips down below, which is pretty deep. It's a good spot away from the cross, and then boom, all this happened. 26 pips, we break even, come back down. We don't have an opportunity to move to break even. Hasn't gone 30 pips yet. This would have made me sweat. I would have sweated for another 15 pips, which is another 1300 and change. Would have been nervous about. Happened again, the next candle. More sweat. And then this one. Finally some relief. Some more relief, more relief, more relief. Till this thing finally hit this thing over here. It maximized at 42 pips. Finally made a cross here. And we would have gotten out right around here, 26 pips. 26 times 88. It's another $2,288 plus, let's say, the 3650 plus the 27 minus the 800. So about those 3-4 trades, $7,838 locked in. It makes so much better sense to do it this way. Because sure, this trend worked out, blah blah blah, but in all honesty, it could have just as easily not. You know what I mean? So why jeopardize all those gains, opportunities, all these opportunities, when you could just do the right thing by yourself and just lock in. Just lock it all in. When price pulls back, get out. Why do you need to suffer that? Get out. Just get out and just set an alarm on your MAs so you know when this MA crosses this MA, the 8 crossed the 21, back into your direction to get back in. You don't need to sit here and babysit this crap. This went on for another 12 hours before something finally happened that told you, okay, it's safe to get back in. And then boom, you finally get a buy signal here that supports what you're trying to do, and it turns out to be the only one you really wanted. Got in here and you went up another monster. We had another monster climb. Got in here, got out here or here. So you got in here and you got out here. Locked in 10 pips. That's 888. That's $888. Do you really give a fuck? I mean, sure, all this is nice and all, but if this wasn't your target and you had to basically just settle for $888, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're just in this another situation where the only thing that's really differentiating is just this particular size of your gain at that moment. And as soon as this makes a cross, your alarm will go off, letting you know. And then boom. You come in and you check, see what it's doing, and you get out. You just get out. Lock in your profits. Get out. Let it do its noise. And then when it makes another cross back in your direction, find the first bullish sign and get back in, buying right here. Then count. Oh man, This time 20 wouldn't have been enough. 20 would have took you out. Fine. Would have took your first loss right around here. This went steep. And it would have sucked because the very next candle was your buy-in. Was another buy-in opportunity. And the problem with that is you may not have the courage to buy in again if you're being honest with yourself. So if you do buy in, it's another situation where it's, thank God, another 30 pips, you're at break even. And price, there's no cross here, so you're holding. And you're holding till you get to this particular spot where price cross and doesn't close to like this point, so 20 pips. Oh, 20.5, and guess what that is? That's the exact amount you just lost. That's fine. And you keep going. And here's where shit's gonna turn ugly. For a good long spell. And you take another 2%er here, and which adds up tantamount to your first 2%er. Then you get back in, and you crush the game. Get out here. Boom. Cross, get out here. 50 pips even. 50 pips along at 88. That's 4,400. Then it crosses back over. Here's your entry. Actually, here's your entry, evening star entry, which is practically the same thing, but there you go. On a 40 something pip at the high, but it turned around here, so we got out 29 pips out of trade. 29 times 88, 2,500. I mean, come on. Come on. It's 2,552, but you know, add everything up to what said before. You basically been in a situation where you only, even though you lost twice, it's pretty much got one of them already got washed away. So let's say, for example, if you're going to keep that one, you have basically an 80% strategy, 80% win rate. I'm good with that. I am fine with that. Anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to share. That's all there is to it. Cashing out. And when the uptrend is officially over is when you start seeing, oh, this is a head and shoulders, by the way. When you start seeing lower highs, lower high, lower high, lower high, and lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. Uptrend is over. And this is a daily zone, daily trend line. Large bear engulf. Yeah, something was bound to happen. But you ate. Took pieces, took bites out of everything. Do you really care what happens? Not really. You just need to know when the trend that you're following is over. Because the trend is your friend till it ends. And you don't want to be trying to go long here and here when everything is now determined to go short. And that is the end of this video.